every part of the truth that we have already attained. Let's not look into other people. Their light, the light that they have attained is different from each and every one of us. We have different experiences. We came from different circumstances, and the messengers that God has sent to us are different. They brought different parts of the message. That's why we cannot compare ourselves with each other. But we can all gain victory. We can all gain victory. Jesus wants us to learn of Him. That's why He has recorded everything necessary for us to learn. And He points us to Himself, the perfect pattern. His life, His work, His toils, His self-denials, the struggles, the sufferings, and everything that came with the plan of salvation. And hopefully, by His grace, we are able to follow Him step by step. And it says here, victory is assured if we are faithful and obedient. Let us make an application of the words of Christ to our own individual cases. Now, let's not read some portion of the truth and point to others. Let us apply it for ourselves. And as we apply it for ourselves, let us share it to others. Let us make an application of the words of Christ to our own individual cases. We are poor and blind and wretched and miserable. Are we poor and blind and wretched and miserable? Then let us seek the gold and white raiment that He offers. The work of overcoming is not restricted to the age of the martyrs. The conflict is for us in these days of subtle temptation to worldliness, to self-security, to indulgence of pride, covetousness, false doctrines, and immorality of life. So, our conflict may not be physically dangerous, but it is still a life and death conflict. In our time, the temptations to worldliness is very subtle and it's hard to detect. And Satan is trying to deceive even the very elect. Self-security. Are we complacent? Are we do we think that we are okay now because we are in the present truth? Indulgence of pride. Do we think highly of ourselves because we have learned more than others? We are able to explain the truth more clearly than others? It's pride. Are we covetous? There's a lot of false doctrines going on around, and it will not stop. More will come. Although the principles are the same, but the faces are different. Satan presents the same falsehoods in a different way. And sadly, a lot of people get deceived by these doctrines, false doctrines, and immorality of life. Let us check ourselves. Let us make an application of the words of Christ to our own individual cases. Let us weed our own gardens, and let others do their gardens too. Yet the case of those who are rebuked is not a hopeless one. It is not beyond the power of the great mediator. He says, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. Though the professed followers of Christ are in a deplorable condition, they are not yet in so desperate a strait as were the foolish virgins whose lamps were going out, and there was no time in which to replenish their vessels with oil. When the bridegroom came, those that were ready went in with him to the wedding. But when the foolish virgins came, the door was shut, and they were too late to obtain an entrance. So this is a small difference between the foolish virgins and the Laodicean condition. The Laodicean condition, God is giving us hope. He is counseling us to prepare, to buy the gold tried in the fire, to wear the white raiment that He is giving us, and the eye salve that we may see. Let us be happy when we are rebuked, because as many as He loves, He chastens and rebukes. It is for our own good. Let us not murmur when the truth hits us. Let us not murmur, but instead we must thank God that He is giving us the eye salve that we may see. We may see our own deplorable condition, and by His grace we can overcome. But the counsel of the true witness does not represent those who are lukewarm as in a hopeless case. There is yet a chance to remedy their state, and the Laodicean message is full of encouragement, for the backslidden church may yet buy the gold of faith and love, may yet have the white robe of the righteousness of Christ, that the shame of their nakedness need not appear. Purity of heart, purity of motive may yet characterize those who are half-hearted and who are striving to serve God and Mammon. They may yet wash their robes of character and make them white in the blood of the Lamb. So, we still have hope, brethren. God is calling us to repentance, and may we be able to attain the purity that God requires of us. Here is hope for the churches if they will heed the message given to the Laodiceans. So, there is hope for us if we will take heed, if we listen to the message, if we apply the message for our own selves. There is hope for us. Wherefore, I will not be negligent to put you always in remembrance of these things, though you know them, and be established in the present truth. That is why, even though messengers have not attained the perfection that we may think they should have attained, they still give the message. Why? Because we just want everyone to be established in the present truth. We want everyone to see what we have seen. And this is part of the sanctification process. We want to water ourselves also. That's why we share the truth. Every time that the sword of truth hurts us, don't blame the messenger. It is God's message, and the messenger is just a spokesperson commanded to share the truth. It is not an easy work. A lot of times people may get angry, but still, it is God's command. And we have to be faithful, each and every one of us. People may hate us for saying the truth, but we have no choice in it if we want to go to heaven. It is really a part of the process of sanctification. So, hopefully, we have learned something from this small study, and may our minds be broadened by these truths. We want to grow as individuals, as Christians, as a church, and we have to understand every part of this truth. We have to understand why it is being given, what for, and ultimately, it is for the perfection of our characters. And hopefully, we may attain that perfection by the grace of Christ. Happy Sabbath, everyone. God bless.